Good morning, Your Honor. Joy, Assistant Public Defender, and on behalf of Ms. Holloway. Holloway, would you please state your name for the record?
Shantia Janaya Holloway.
Your Honor, Ms. Holloway is here for a bond violation. We've had an opportunity to go over the report together. And she has been in custody since last Thursday, so for 7 days. We are requesting at this time, she is at this time wishing to admit to the violation, that she was unaware that the no contact order of the limited nature of the exclusion zone for the no contact order. She had spoken to her spoken to her child's father, who was in need of Pampers and wipes, and they had agreed, instead of her coming there, for her to drop off those items at a friend/neighbor's home in that same area.
Opposite sides.
But on the opposite side, she indicates that when they're was driving around, that she was going to that person's house, and that that was part of what was necessary for her to leave. She understands and is very clear that she does not have a criminal history like this.
It's own.
I did, sir.
And she did. It was not as in the time as quickly as they would like. She was trying to explain that she was trying to get the diapers and such, and that she was not trying to go over to the house. But I think now she has not had this kind of trouble or been incarcerated on a case for the number of days that she has on this case. And she's really learning her lesson, and this will not happen again. So we are asking that.
Police were also kind of suspicious as to whether or not she had been drinking.
She indicates that she has. I do not know why they. Go ahead.
May I speak, Your Honor?
Would you care?
Go ahead.
So when the officers came to my godparents' house to get me, they said that it was the Tether company that wanted to pick me up. I was on hold with the non-emergency line trying to get a civil standby, but he didn't let me explain that. And it's like, when you come inside my apartment complex, the only way that you can exit out is if you have to go all the way down and then come around the opposite side, because it's like gates that they have to let up. I understand the seriousness of the situation, and I am very sorry, Your Honor, but my child really did need those Pampers and wipes. But I still have not had no contact with my kids. I have been blowing, doing my sober link. I have been sober, and then the officer that arrested me, she said that me taking a PB wouldn't hurt or harm me. She just said that if it was up to me, and she didn't say that it was mandatory. So that's why I was like, well, I've already had a signed sober link. Why do I need to take a PB when I did use my sober link that day? And it was a compliance test. That this would not happen again, Your Honor.
And for some additional information, the child who is the subject of the case still continues to reside in Pontiac and was not in any that this was for her youngest child, who is with her father. I'm sorry, with her father.
Respond from the people.
I obviously read the report. It doesn't seem like it was vindictive or anything on the defendant's part, but was disappointing that it was within hours of us discussing it and discussing how her and counsel needed to go about for taking private access to her younger time. So while the actual context of what she says she was doing and what I tend to believe she was doing is not negative or violent or like that. I just have concerns that kind of disregarded what we talked about kind of ad nauseum last time that we were here. And I have concerns that when asked by police to issue refuse, but I don't have a lot of information from the police as to why they requested that she do that. That's a long-winded way that I'm ultimately going to leave it up to the I think that she needs to continue to maintain her sobriety, but that she needs to also continue to follow the court's orders in terms of where she can and cannot be. And so I'm not going to be that she can see her children at this point in any capacity if she is to be released.
And your own client, if you were to change
Well,
the
was
link.
she going to,
I'm sorry.
where was she supposedly going to take these diapers?
To a friend's place who lives in the same apartment complex. But it's the one off Grove Lakeshore. So it's a huge apartment complex. So she did not think that taking it to that other person's place so that her partner could pick up the diapers and wipes would be an issue. And she knows now very clearly that that's an issue. She's nodding her head in agreement. And
when the police showed up, you were upstairs, right?
She was at a different location. I believe it.
I did leave, Your Honor. It was a quick, it was really quick after I left the apartment complex and I went to my godparents' house. Tell me to leave. So I went and parked my car. And then the police showed up shortly after that. I was not upstairs when they came. I asked them, was I able to change my clothes? And they did let me change my clothes because I had on something prior to when I was at court. It was a dress.
If you look, you'll see that in the report, it gives another address. And it's my understanding that address is not within the complex. And that was where the Tether agent or the Tether agencies dispatched. And that is not in the complex. It's, as she said, at her godparents' house.
When they told you were in the zone, why were you arguing with them?
Officer, sir, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying. I was just trying to explain to him like what I was doing. And when he called me, I was on hold with the non-emergency line because I've had to get 2 civil standbys, and then the other Tether people, they let me.
When they told you were in the zone, why didn't you just leave?
So
instead of arguing with them,
I should have, Your Honor, and I'm very sorry for that. I'm telling you, Your Honor, this would not happen again.
It shouldn't have happened this time.
I understand.
Young lady, when you left here, I know you were not happy with what the court said, that you were going to get a scram tether before you saw your kids. I know you weren't because of the way that you walked out. And you have to understand how you look, because some people think I'm not paying attention to what's going on. I'm paying attention to everything that's happening in this courtroom. And I saw you stomp out past the gentleman the gentleman and the woman that were here for supporting you. You just walked past them. You walked out, and then within hours of that hearing, and we had talked about, and I think it's important to point out, we had talked about how you were going to go about getting visitation with your child. You weren't happy with what there was going to be a scram tether prior to that ever occurring. You walk out of here, and then next thing I know, you're in the zone, the exclusion zone. And then when I get the entirety of what I have here, people are, could be an accident, could have driven through it. But then when I get the entirety of the report, you're arguing with the people. You're arguing with them when they're telling you you're in the zone and to leave. And you don't leave. And then I think there's a reason why I don't understand why all of a sudden then all of this happens. Understand some of the underlying charges in this case. They ask you to take a PBT and you don't. I'm not saying that you could be compelled to do it. You didn't have to. Right. But if you look at what is here, I don't get why you didn't.
I think in retrospect, Your Honor, she would. I think, but she indicated at the time she was in compliance with the sober link and had blown in earlier that day, and so
my sober link that day, Your Honor. And I explained that to her. I just didn't bring it with me when they arrested me, like my sober link that I had.
So this has been a very harsh lesson, but she has learned it.
Oh, harsh, yeah.
Of her own making.
So I'm not opposed to the scram tether if I will prove to the court.
Oh, so yeah, now you want the scram tether because you want out. You messed up big time. Because I'll be honest with you, when I heard the allegations, I don't know why you're out. But I figured somebody saw something that you were in compliance and maybe there'd be some. And then you do this. So, young lady, you tell me why I should trust
you. Your Honor, I feel like that I should be trusted because, well, for one, I am starting the peer recovery program. I missed my treatment in the program Monday because I was incarcerated. I have to go on the scram tether and go back on GPS tether. I would not enter the exclusion zones anymore, ever. Because this is just my first time being in trouble. Like I have not been in trouble or have to go through like things like this before. I also have a job that I have to get back to as well. It's a really hard lesson for me, but I really feel like sitting in here, even on Mother's Day weekend, like I really have learned my lesson. And if you trust me, I will not disappoint, and I can prove to the court that I can stay sober and stay compliant. And I just ask that you would please take that into consideration, Your Honor.
What are we doing with? The case is already set for what? Prelim before me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
This Tuesday.
On Monday, there is an interview, a child access center interview scheduled with a child victim on this case. So I don't think I'm going to have the protective order signed that interview over to prior to that preliminary exam. I just wanted to put that on the record so that that's clear.
We understand that. At this time, we'd like to keep the date and then, but understand
Right.
maybe that there may be some additional, if Your Honor would allow discussion on that day. I know Ms. Yagi plans to keep this case and to be at the preliminary exam. It's going to ultimately be her case and so forth.
Defendant's bond with previous conditions is reinstated. Young lady, I'm going to give you a fair warning because this case is before me. You mess up at all, I will put you back and you will stay. Am I clear?
Yes.
With the previous conditions, including the GPS, she will also get something else for her other leg. I want her on a scram tether.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This hearing became a perfect example of how quickly trust can disappear in a courtroom. The judge made it very clear that the issue wasn't just about diapers, wipes, or even entering the exclusion zone. It was about judgment, compliance, and credibility. In bond cases like this, courts look at behavior after release very closely, and according to the judge, her actions within hours of the prior hearing raised serious red flags. Notice how the judge repeatedly focused on her attitude, her refusal to immediately leave the area, and the fact that officers claimed she argued instead of complying. That's because judges often evaluate not only what happened, but how a defendant responds when confronted. In the end, she avoided being sent back to jail permanently, but the court tightened the restrictions by ordering a scram tether and warning her that one more mistake could land her right back behind bars. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think this was an honest misunderstanding by a desperate mother trying to help her child? Or did she completely ignore the court's warning and lose the judge's trust? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to Courtroom Clash for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.